This meeting is being recorded.
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamani Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapatramalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sadhvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakha Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Radha
Namaste.
Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwanamsute Devi Pranamami Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyacha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharani Nirvishesha Mukam karoti vachalam pangam gayate girivatamaham vande Shri Gurumina Dharanam Paramananda Madhavam Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadavale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you everybody for joining. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sorry, I'm just sending a quick message. Okay, so we had finished reading till verse 21 of 16th chapter. Anybody wants to share anything or any realizations, corrections, questions? If you were able to hear the last one or two classes. Hima Mataji or Mohit Prabhu, anybody has any questions? Please share. Okay, so we will continue with our reading. So we read 16.21 last time. Let's read that again. We'll read 21 and 22 together. So we're reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, the divine and demonic natures, verse 21 and 22. So this is a memory verse, like I said last time. If you feel inspired, please memorize it. Trividham narkasyedam. Please lead and follow.
Trividham
Narkasyedam
Dwaram nashnam atmana.
Dwaram nashnam
Kama krodhas tatha lobhas.
Kama krodha tatha
lobhas.
Tasmadetattrayam trajet. Let's recite the next one also, then we'll read the translation. 16.22. Eter vimukta kaunteya. Tamo dvare stribhir nara. Tamo dvare stribhir nara. Acharti atmana shreyas. Acharti atmana shreyas. Tato yati param gatim. Tato yati param gatim. Okay, let's read both of these translations, 21 and 22. Who would like to read? Read both of these, please. Yes, Avni.
Text 21. There are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. Text 22. The man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conductive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining, Avni. We've missed you last few classes. What do you remember this verse? Have you memorized it?
I think I have, but I'm not sure because it does sound familiar. I think Shribilas Prabhuji has told us to memorize it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is part of your 50 verses, but you want to share anything from these two verses? What do you understand that you read?
So in text 21, it's saying that there are three gates that lead to hell, which are lust, anger, and greed, and that everybody should give lust, anger, and greed up because they degrade the soul or like make you fall down. And whoever has escaped the lust, anger, and greed, they perform acts that help or that like go with self-realization, and they attain liberation or moksha.
Very bold, amazing. Good job, Avni. Wonderful. So, yes, just I don't know if I have anything more to add. Actually, Avni shared everything. So Krishna is saying, let's open this verse and look at the Sanskrit also. Krishna is saying that there are three types of gates or doors leading to hell, narak. He says narakasedam, of this hell. This hell, because in the previous verses he mentioned what happens to the demonic people. He said that they go into a very hellish situation of life. Hellish situation means that they will either be taking birth in lower planets, which are like hellish planets, right? Demonic planets, or lower species of living entities. So like a worm, or a reptile or something like that. So a lower species they'll take birth in. Or even if they take birth as a human, which is unlikely if they have committed very sinful activities, then their human birth will also be full of suffering, right? A lot of disease and a lot of problems. So like that, they will go into hellish situation of life. And what are the things, what are the qualities of demons that lead to this, the doors that lead to this hellish situation of life? He says there are three type of gates. The calm means lust, krodh or anger, and lobh meaning greed. So if you know, there are some anarthas, right? There is a word called anarthas. Who knows the meaning of the word anarthas? Can anybody mention? We often say that demonic people or, us, we have these anarthas in us. Anarthas are types of qualities that we have. But what does it mean? Anybody take a guess? So anartha, right? Arth means meaning, an means no. So something that has no meaning. So there are certain qualities in us that have no meaning, that should be given up. They are not useful at all. So those qualities are called anarthas. And there are how many prime anarthas? Who would? Yes, Avni. You want to recount?
Are there 6?
Yes. Do you remember which ones are the main anarthas that inflict us?
I know there's lust, anger, and greed, pride, envy, and I'm forgetting the last one. Illusion.
Right? So calm, krodh, yeah, Avni mentioned them all. Calm, krodh, lobh, the three that are mentioned in this verse. And other than that, there is mad, matsarya, and calm, krodh, lobh, moh, mad, and matsarya. So these are anger, greed, lust, pride, illusion, and envy. Right? Krishna has already talked about pride, illusion, and envy. He has also mentioned about calm, krodh, and lobh also, but now he's specifying that these three especially, these are the, out of those 6 anarthas, these three prime anarthas lead to hellish situation of life. So he's naming these three specifically here, that if you are suffering from lust, lust basically means, lust does not just refer to sensual desires. Lust refers to any kind of polluted, uncontrolled desires for material things, for material situations, like I want to eat this, unnecessarily. I may not need it, but I just want to enjoy something. So unnecessary desires, polluted desires for various types of enjoyment, that is referred to as calm or lust. So sometimes calm is loosely referred to the sensual desires, which is the topmost lust that a living entity can have. But there are other types of lusts also, uncontrolled desires, not only for sensual attraction, but for other type of attractions to this material world, other type of material polluted desires that are really not very beneficial for us. They're not needed and they should be ideally given up. That is called calm. Krodh, we already know, anger, right? We have discussed anger very much in detail before. And lobh is greed, right? Lobh is greed, meaning again, it is greed also is a type of lust only, but for very excess desire to keep accumulating. It could be accumulation of money, it could be accumulation of some, jewelry or treasures, or even greedy for position or fame or a post, right? Those type of things are called greed or lobh. So again, lobh or greed for this material world is unnecessary and should be given up. So these things don't help us at all. They are they're obstacles to the real self, because for the body, they may be, body may be hankering for these things, but we are not this body, we are the soul. So for the soul, these things are not needed. For the soul needs to give up attachment to the material world, excessive attachment to the material desires, excessive greed for the things available in this material world, because they just lead to hellish situation of life, Krishna is saying. And he's saying they lead to degradation of the soul, right? So the real self is getting degraded actually. They're destroying your soul, destroying you. So this is called killing the self. Prabhupada sometimes say that these people are Atmaja. Atmaja meaning they're killing themselves, they're killing the self. So these are big obstacles in a spiritual path. So we don't want to indulge. These cause indulgement in the material world. We don't want to indulge too much in the material world. Then the next one goes together with this. So I'll just mention this also. Then Krishna says, so if you can escape these three gates of hell, if you understand, a person who understands that he's not this body is a soul, right? He will not be too attracted to these things, because he's not going to cater to the just the needs of this body, right? He's not going to just indulge this body. He will know that these things are not good for his soul, so he will stay away from them. So somebody who can escape these three gates of hell, who can control his anger, who can control his greed and lust, then that person is his path is more conducive to self-realization, and he can gradually attain the supreme destination. So Krishna is saying somebody who's conducting their life, acharti, जो अपना आचरण ऐसा रखेगा, जो इस तरीके से कंडक्ट करेगा अपनी लाइफ को, he can do the things that are good for himself. Atmana meaning for self. Shreyas, we'll talk about this in a few minutes, what is Shreyas, but he will do acts that are good for himself, and that person will be able to achieve Param Gatim, the supreme destination. And supreme destination we know is liberation or achieving Godhead, going back to the Lord, going back to our original home, which is with the Lord, to our original Father from whom we become separated. Now, some key words here that I wanted to point out, very nice Sanskrit words. Krishna says, these are tamodwaras. Tamodwara. So dwar means gates, right? He said these are three gates to hell, dwar. They are tamodwaras. Tamo means darkness or ignorance, right? Om agyan timirandhasya. Timir is darkness. From timir comes tamu. So we say tamoguna, right? Tamoguna means mode of darkness or mode of ignorance. So these are those doors that lead to darkness or ignorance. These are three gates of ignorance. Tridhir nara. So for the For a person, these three are the gates of ignorance, and they lead to degradation of soul. Now let's come to this word, Shreyas. I want to hear from everybody. Hare Krishna, Namita Mataji. Thank you for joining. So glad to see you.
Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam.
And with Pranam, we missed you yesterday. I'm sorry.
No.
Um,
I don't know if you saw my message. I messaged you on her WhatsApp.
I did. I'm sorry, Mataji, to hear about your friend. If you would allow us, we'll pray for her. Say some,
Yes, Mataji.
chant some extra for her in the end of the class.
Absolutely, Mataji. That would be good.
So who wants to talk about the word Shreyas? Who knows the meaning of the word Shreyas? And what is the other word, counterpart of Shreyas? There are two words. Looks like Avni has all the answers today. Avni is the front bencher. You know, the kid who has all the answers. How about anybody else? What is the word Shreyas means? And what is the other word other than Shreyas that we talk about? Shreyas versus, like we say, good versus bad. Shreyas versus what? Okay, let's hear from Vinita this time. Yes, Vinita.
Hare Krishna. So Shreyas is like things that are pleasing for the soul. And then prayas would be like pleasing for the senses.
Yes, yes, very nice. That's one meaning. So first of all, point to be noted, Vinita mentioned two things, Shreyas and Prayas, right? Shreyas and Prayas. So there are two things, Shreyas and Prayas. Which one is good, Vinita? Is Shreyas good or Prayas good for us, for the soul?
Shreyas.
Shreyas, right? So Shreyas is the one that is good for the soul. So Shreyas is basically something that gives us long-term benefit. It may be, there may be a lot of hard work in short term, but in long term, it gives us benefit. Like controlling the anger may be hard for those few minutes, but in long term, it will be good because, you know, you did not say harsh words, you did not destroy a relationship, you did not commit your soul to degradation, right? So in this way, Shreyas is good for the soul, right? Controlling your senses may be hard, but it is, in the long run, it will be good for you because you are protecting your body from some harmful things maybe, right? So that is Shreyas. It gives us long-term benefit. So there is some Shrey, there is some hard work in the short term, but long run, Shreyas gives benefit. So mostly people that are following the spiritual path are inclined towards Shreyas, meaning they, all intelligent people are like that, right? Intelligent people always think of long-term benefit. Like a student, for example, a student starts studying, like a hard-working student will start studying, even though nobody probably wants to study, everybody wants to enjoy, but he's putting in those hours studying because he knows for the exam, for the long run, this will be good for me. So he puts in that effort, or an athlete, he puts in the effort and trains, he does extra hours training, and also he can win that match, right? So in long run, that short-term hard work will pay up, right? It will be beneficial. So short-term loss for long-term gain, right? That is Shreyas. So intelligent people typically look at the long-term gain, right? That is what we are also doing. We know that we want to go back to Godhead. So in this life, in this particular body, for this lifetime, let's dedicate our life to Shreyas, our life to certain austerities, maybe some fasting, maybe some things that we don't indulge in that the rest of the world is indulging in, right? Avoiding the anger, avoiding the greed, avoiding the lust. So we may feel like, oh, we are depriving ourselves, rest of the world is enjoying. But no, this is long-term gain and this is just short-term loss. So you always look at the greater good, right? This is for the greater good. So that is Shreyas. This benefits the self, the soul. Prayas, on the other hand, like Vinita said, is basically giving pleasure to senses, because our senses, our mind, they have a nature to enjoy in the moment. They want to enjoy right now. They don't care about the long-term benefit. Our senses want to enjoy right now. My tongue wants to eat something sweet. My eyes want to see something pleasing. My mind wants to be, let's say, absorbed in a movie. My touch, I want to touch something soft and sensual, right? So in this way, every sense just wants to enjoy right now in a short term. It wants to indulge. Same with the mind. So mind and senses are uncontrolled like that. But if we let them just indulge, Krishna is saying they are not good for Atmana. Atmana Shreyas. So do good for yourself. Because in this way, you may be indulging your body, but you may be going away from Krishna. You may be just looking at temporary benefit, and long term, you will miss out, right? You'll condition yourself to just enjoy, when we know that we are not the enjoyer. You're just engaging in enjoy tendency, right? And so that is prayas. So prayas is just engaging your senses in the short term and not looking at the long term benefit. So that is the word I wanted to highlight in this verse. And then he says, so such person who can control himself, who can not enter, who will not enter through these doors, these gates of darkness, tamodwaras, who's looking at the good for himself, who's doing the good for himself, Atmana Shreyas, that person will achieve the Param Gatim. That person will achieve the supreme destination. All good things are hard to get. They are a little bit, they need some effort, some work on our part. Like we had this discussion a couple classes back, that if this path is hard, why should one take it? Because staying in this material world is actually harder. Suffering in this material world is really a big loss for the self. So if we want to do the best for ourselves and go back home, then we should put in some effort, some detachment from this body, from these senses and mind, right? Do some shreyas so that we can achieve the supreme destination. And Krishna has given the recipe. All right, let's hear from everybody. What questions, what realizations you have? So Krishna is talking about three anarthas: anger, greed, and lust, or three demonic qualities that keep us entangled in this cycle of birth and death and don't let us achieve the supreme destination. He says that we get the hellish situation of life, degradation of the soul, narakam midam. He says we go to hellish situation if we maintain these qualities. So anybody wants to share anything? Nirbhay Prabhu, Nana Prabhu, Murli Prabhu, Namita Mataji, anybody? Anita Mataji has any questions, realizations?
मैडम एक कबीर का दुआ था, साधु ऐसे चाहिए जैसे सूप सुभाए, सार सार को गही रहता है, थोता दे तो उड़ाए। तो साधु, तो वो साधु का मीनिंग क्या था? तो एक ने पूछा कि सर ये साधु क्या होता है? सा मतलब जो छह को धो डाला वो साधु। तो ये छह क्या है? काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, मत्सर, मद मत्सर जो है, ये छह जिसने धो डाले वो साधु समझो, मतलब अच्छा आदमी समझो।
Wonderful, amazing. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Yeah. So, Kabir was a Krishna devotee, right? Very advanced soul who was a Krishna devotee. So that is wonderful definition of sadhu. Yes. So sadhu person, and we are all trying to be sadhu. Sadhu basically means a devotee. So we should not maintain these demonic qualities, these six anarthas. We just try to retain meaningful things. जो अर्थहीन है, जो अनर्थ है, उसको छोड़ दो. इसका कोई अर्थ नहीं है, इसको छोड़ दो. तो जो छोड़ देगा वो साधु है. Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Amazing. Anybody else wants to share anything? Anger से related तो कितनी stories हैं, you know. There was a story of Alexander, I remember, or very commonly known as Sikandar, India में. जब वो आया था सिकंदर इंडिया में, so he saw this sadhu who was sitting under a tree, and Sikandar was very used to everybody getting up and saluting him or bowing down to him and all this, and this sadhu did not get up and salute to him. So Sikandar, or Alexander, he got very upset at him. He said, how dare catch him, you know, how dare he not recognize that I'm my lordship, I'm such a big ruler, I have conquered so many kingdoms and defeated so many countries and whatnot. So how come this person who appears to be a homeless, you know, shabby clothes and all, how come he not get up and receive me or salute me properly. So he got very angry at him. He was saying things to that sadhu. So sadhu said that I would have, saluted to you or acknowledged your kingship, your lordship, but actually I see that you're not really a lord, you're not really a king, you're actually a slave. So king said, Alexander said, explain yourself. What do you mean I'm a slave? I'm a big king. I have conquered so many kingdoms. I'm an undefeated ruler. तो ऐसा कैसे बोल सकते हो कि मैं slave हूँ? तो उन्होंने कहा कि I can see you're so angry at me. You're a slave to your own anger and pride. You're a slave to your own anger. You have no control over it. So if you have no control over your own anger, how can you control other people or other kingdoms? You have no control over your own pride. How can you control any other rulers? So I don't see you as a ruler or as a big conqueror or all this. I see you as a very small living entity who's just struggling like any of us in this material world. So I do not accept your lordship. So that was, that is what happens. We become a slave to our anger and pride and all these anarthas. And then the other way we become a slave is we stay entangled in this material world. We keep getting demonic or hellish situation of life if we maintain these demonic qualities. Okay, so and then Krishna says, or actually in translation, Prabhupada said, every sane man should give these up. Or maybe it's in the next one. Is it in the next one? This one. Every sane man should give these up. And what is the quality of a devotee? A devotee is very intelligent. Devotee is an expert. Devotee is skilled. They're very intelligent, right? So an intelligent person should give these up. So if you respect yourself, the real self, you don't want it to get destroyed and degraded, then the true respect would be, true love for the self would be to not let yourself get contaminated by these qualities, right? When people say, I respect myself, hamari bhi koi izzat hai, hamari bhi koi respect hai, right? So what is that self-respect actually truly is? To be devoid of these anarthas, because these anarthas are polluting. So an intelligent, a cultured person typically does not engage with anything polluted. And these internal pollution contaminations are the biggest pollutions, right? So we should not let ourselves get dirty, get contaminated with these polluting qualities. Okay, let's go to, if nobody has anything to share, we'll go to the last two verses of this chapter. Let's take these together. We're reading Bhagavad Gita 16.23. So again, memory verse. I said there are two memory verses. One is 21 and this is 23. Both of these are memory verses. Please recite this. Ya Shastra Vidimutsrijya. Ya Shastra Vidimutsrijya. Vartate Kam Karata. Vartate Kam Karata. Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti. Nasa
Siddhim avapnoti.
Na Sukham Na Param Gatim.
Na sukham na parangatim.
Let's recite next one also, 16.24. Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te. Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te. Karya Akarya Vyavastitau. Karya
Akarya vyavastito.
Gyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam. Gyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam. Karma Kartum Iharasi.
Karma kartum iharasi.
Let's read the translation. Let's read both of these. Who wants to read?
Can I?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Text 23. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. Text 24. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. You want to share what you understood from these verses?
Yes, Mataji. So, text 23 में ये कह रहे हैं कि he who discards scriptural injunctions and act according to his own whims. So act according to his own whims. Like, you know, we have read that there are more than how many lakhs or like types of people, like even in the human beings, right? So everybody will have their own thought, and they don't know whether it is perfect or not. Like, we don't know, but we have a guide, like we have Gita as guide, or we have like Bhagavatam as a guide, where we can refer, and like we can follow and act based on what is given in the scriptures. But what is happening is that like all those 4 lakhs people, like, you know, different variety of people, they are doing, or like, you know, acting as per their own thinking, which may not be perfect. So if it is not perfect, for sure it will not give any perfection, nor it will give any happiness. And this is what we are experiencing on, like, you know, daily basis, that if we discard, like if we don't follow our scriptures, like we are in trouble. Like if I say in the simple language, we are in trouble if we just go ahead by our own thinking. So yeah, text 24. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
Yes, yes, Mataji, you can go ahead. Yes, please.
Yeah, so text 24, one should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty. So where we will get this knowledge? We'll get this knowledge after reading the scriptures. Like even talking from my own experience, it's very short time that I have been in touch with the scriptures reading. And we get to know a lot, which is very much useful and applicable, not in just our daily life, but also in professional life. Like, you know, it teaches how to conduct ourselves. And I have got tremendous help in even in my professional life by reading these scriptures, like, you know, following what is given as guide. So it's a well-rounded help when we are following our scriptures. That's what I would just say in the summary from my own experience. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, thank you, Mataji, for sharing. Amazing. Yeah, so that is exactly what Krishna is saying, that people who are acting whimsically, he who discards scriptural injunctions, ya shastra vidhim utsrijya. Vidhi means rules or injunctions. So जो भी व्यक्ति शास्त्र के rules को त्यागता है, utsrijya meaning to give up, त्याग करना, and अपनी whimsically काम करता है, काम कारता, just whimsically out of his lust or his desires or whatever, his own logics, his own philosophies. ना सा सिद्धिम अवाप्नोति, ना तो उसको सिद्धि मिलती है, सिद्धि means perfection of life, ना सुखम meaning ना happiness, ना param gatim, ना supreme destination. So he does not get any perfection, any happiness, or even supreme destination. So basically neither he gets happiness while in this body, in this material world, because he's just whimsically doing stuff which will only end up in more miseries, more anxieties, more frustrations, right? So he will not get perfection of life, will not get sukham, na param gatim, and na he will get supreme destination. So this happens if you don't follow the rules and regulations given in the scriptures, acting whimsically. And let's take the next verse, Sanskrit also, and then we will discuss these together. The next verse, Krishna says that these scriptures are giving us what to do and what not to do, what is our duty and what is not our duty, like what is the karya and what is akarya, meaning kya karne yogya hai aur kya karne yogya nahi hai, forbidden hai. So what are the rules, what are the restrictions, what is the vidhi and what is the nishedh. Vidhi means rules, nishedh means restrictions, karya means duty, akarya means forbidden activities. So all these rules, restrictions, the duty, the forbidden activities, they're given in the scriptures, in the Shastra, and they are the praman, they are the evidence. So we should not go seeking evidence, ki mujhe kya pata, भगवान है या नहीं है, मैंने तो कभी देखे नहीं, मुझे तो पता नहीं कि अगला जन्म होगा या नहीं होगा. I don't know if there is another birth or not. I only know that there is this body, so I should just act for this body. All these things. So, but Krishna is saying that the Shastra are the praman, Shastra are the evidence, just like we go by evidence based in everything, right? At least I know in medical field we do evidence based medicine. We have journals that we follow. It's not like before giving penicillin or any antibiotic to any patient, I will start researching for myself. I have to see proof in front of me that this antibiotic will work, it is safe, right? I have the evidence already given to me by previous scientists and previous researchers, and ample evidence in the journals that I can read. I don't need to use my own logics and my own research and come up with my limited resources and limited intelligence, do my own small research to find out whether this antibiotic works or not. That will not be helpful at all. That will just be nonsense, waste of time, waste of money, waste of my profession, right? So what I do is I just use evidence-based medicine. I just use the journals and previous research and previous evidence and apply that and use those medicines. So similarly, this Shastra is also, it's called Shabd Praman. It is a Praman, it is evidence, it is proof, and it is proven by all these, you can say, case studies given in Bhagavatam. For example, case study of Dhruv Maharaj, case study of Prahlad Maharaj, case study of Arjuna, case study of Yudhishthir Maharaj, case study of Kunti, Queen Kunti, case study of Bhishma Dev, right? All these are like case studies or like evidence that are given in our scriptures on how the Shastra, that following the rules, regulations of the Shastra works. So we have then evidence from our acharyas, from our teachers, right? If our teacher tells us that 1 plus 4 is equal to 5, I'm not going to say no, 1 plus 4 should be equal to 14, not 5. I cannot just use my brains about all this. I have to accept what the teacher says, and some things I just accept on the faith that my teacher is teaching me, based in a proper affiliated institution, right? Similarly, these scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, is the word of Lord, right? Even in material life, we use evidence-based knowledge. We use proper books and journals and all to guide us. So this Shastras are like that. They are evidence-based. We have teachers, we have acharyas that have given us all this knowledge, and we take their word for it, and we take the word of God. So he's saying this is the praman, what to do, what is karya and what is akarya. Gyatva Shastra Vidhanuktam. So if you know the rules, the vidhan given in the Shastras, then you know how to conduct yourself, like Mataji is saying, how to conduct yourself in this world. And then by acting in that manner, you can gradually be elevated. So Bhagavad Gita that is why it is called manual of life. Just like before you use any phone or computer, right? You try to read the manual, or you try to understand how it works. Similarly, before starting this life or while conducting this life, we should read this manual of life, which is Bhagavad Gita. It tells us how to conduct your professional life, your personal life, how to go back to the Lord, where did we come from, where do we have to go, and what do we have to do in between, all, right? कि source क्या है, goal क्या है, और बीच में क्या करना है, right? कर्म योग करना है, ध्यान योग करना चाहते हो, भक्ति योग है, और इन सब में से बेस्ट क्या है, ज्ञान योग है. All these yogas, how to connect yourself back to God, how to go back, all these paths are given in Bhagavad Gita, and our real identity is given. So one gets the best thing that Bhagavad Gita tells us is what is our real identity, because we keep thinking we are this body, and we become degraded, we become fearful, we become very anxiety prone, very frustrated, because we are trying to satisfy this body, but that is not what we should be doing. We should be satisfying the soul. Then we can become fearless. So Bhagavad Gita gives us a true identity and makes us fearless, actually, because otherwise thinking yourself to be this body is a very, very fearful condition, right? So let me ask you, can you enjoy more with this body, or do you suffer more with this body? Are there more ways to enjoy with this body, or are there more ways to suffer with this body? Enjoy करने के क्या क्या तरीके हैं?
Suffer with the body. More ways to suffer
More ways.
rather than enjoy.
Okay. Yeah, that is the whole medical specialty is based on the suffering of the body, right? The books are filled with number of diseases that a body can have. Whereas how do you enjoy with this body? What are the enjoyments that the body can have?
Busy in Harinam, so that we can think of ourselves only. For a moment we forget about other things and think of God only.
Okay, that is the enjoyment of the soul. I'm talking about the body. How does the body enjoy? How do we enjoy? Yes, Savni.
Like the body can enjoy if you like eat really yummy food.
Okay. Yes, very nice. By eating something nice. So 5 ways only that body can enjoy. Only 5 ways to enjoy. Only 5 ways. By watching something nice, by smelling something good, by eating something tasty, by touching something soft or sensual, right? And by hearing something. That is only 5 ways to enjoy with this body, right? Or you can say, okay, mind and intellect can also enjoy when you engage in something. Let's say you're a very intelligent person who likes to engage your mind, let's say reading and all this, then yeah, you can engage your mind and intelligent also. Mind can enjoy by various वो कौन सा व्यक्ति होता था जो सपने बुनता था, एक टीवी सीरियल आया था, मुरारी समथिंग के हसीन,
Mungeri Lal.
मंगेरी
हाँ,
लाल
Mungeri Lal.
हाँ, मुंगेरी लाल के
Mungeri Lal के
हसीन
हसीन सपने.
So you can enjoy, you can, with your mind, you can make these big castles. कि मैं ये होता तो मैं ये कर लेता, ऐसे से करता, फिर ऐसे से करता, right? So yeah, okay, so 6-7 ways to enjoy with the body, but innumerable ways to suffer. That is the, uska evidence hai hamari sari medical books. They are filled with the numerous sufferings. And how do you, and then you go to a prison house, right? How they are torturing the prisoners there, right? How are sometimes war criminals tortured, right? Innumerable ways to torture. I don't even want to say it here, right? Innumerable ways you can. So I say only thing you can do is see something nice, but then torture, you think of any organ and you can be tortured so much. So body, you can suffer. There are more ways to suffer than there are ways to enjoy. So, but our real identity is, that's why, and our nature is to enjoy. The first rule of Vedanta Sutra, the first injunction is Anandamayo Bhyasat, that all living entities like to enjoy. Ek song hota tha, Hollywood song, maybe Avni knows. Girls just like to have fun, right? Kaise hota? I can't remember that. I don't know the tune.
It's like girls just want to have fun.
Right.
Like that. Yeah.
But actually it's the living entities, all living entities, not just girls. All living entities want to have fun. That is what Anandamayo Bhyasat means. All living entities want to have is to just have fun, just enjoy. And like Mama said, how can you enjoy the self? You enjoy the self by connecting it to the Lord, by going back to the Godhead, by chanting the names of the Lord, by reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, understanding your true identity. I'm not this body. So whatever is happening with this body is very temporary. It's only for the duration of this body. It will finish when the body finishes. It's just like, okay, I have a car. So what if I scratched my car today? Do we like get so worried and frustrated about it? So what is that? दूसरी कार आ जाएगी, कार 4-5 साल के लिए है, 10 साल के लिए है, उसके बाद दूसरी कार आ जाएगी, फिर दूसरी कार से अपना काम चलाएंगे, अपने काम पे जाएंगे या जो भी फ्रेंड से मिलने जाएंगे, right? Car is only a vehicle to take us from one place to another. So once we understand that our true identity is not this body, body is only a vehicle that is carrying us for now. And in that vehicle, let's go to the places where we are meant to be. So we can perfect our lives, Prabhupada said, in this lifetime only, in this body only, and not accept any more bodies. So I'm getting deviated, but the main point is that the Shastras give us they are the evidence, they give us the rules and regulations by which to live this life. And instead of taking up the demonic qualities, understand what are the demonic qualities, get rid of them, cultivate the godly qualities, become dear to the Lord, and go back to Godhead. So And that's how we finished the 16th chapter. Om Tat Satiti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjun Samvade Ath Shodashakam Adhyaya. Hari Bol. Let's hear from everybody. Anyone wants to share anything, their realizations from this chapter? So we talked about demonic qualities, right? Krishna started with he started with divine qualities. Very quickly, he summarized those divine qualities in a few verses, 2-3 verses. Then he went on to demonic qualities. He talked about how the demonic people have very different belief system about Lord, about this creation. They think that there is no God. They think that the world is anishvara. There is no authority. There is no controller, that we are here to enjoy. So they have very enjoy tendency, right? That is why they want to enjoy with this body. Instead of engaging it in my service, instead of accepting me as the Lord, they just want to enjoy. And they have uncontrolled desires. They have polluted desires. They have uncontrolled senses and mind. And they have many tamasic qualities, many, like these qualities are all tamasic. The anger, greed, lust, right? There are many tamasic qualities, many anarthas that assail them, right? So, and what else they have? The last problem Krishna mentioned, that they don't believe in the authority of scriptures. They don't believe in the word of God. They don't have any faith in the Lord. And so because of all this belief system, because of this enjoy tendency, because of these polluted desires, uncontrolled senses and mind, what they do is they engage in sinful activities. They just are enjoying with this body, polluting it and polluting people around them, contaminating the world with their sinful activities, causing destruction in the world, killing other living entities, harming other people, exploiting their relationships, their friends, various ways people are committing illicit activities. And all these activities ultimately lead to anxieties, frustrations, because they're trying to satisfy this body. Mind and senses cannot be satisfied. It's like a bucket with a hole in it. Jitna bhi dalte jao, nikalta jayega. So mind or senses cannot be satisfied, and they're trying to satisfy it. And so they are frustrated in this attempt. And ultimately, so they cannot enjoy in this life because they're not getting satiated. Their thirst, their hunger for their desires is not getting satisfied. And so since they're not satiated, they're not really happy in this life either, right? They're full of anxieties and frustration. And in what to say of next life? In next life, they will get hellish situation. They will get lower planets or lower species after this body, and they cannot attain me. The last class, that the verses we did, Krishna actually said that they can never attain me. He was very heavy. He said that they will be, he's sort of talking about eternal damnation, that they are eternally damned. There is no way to revive them. But then we talked about the solution, that they can be revived if they come in contact with devotees. If they hear, if Harinam, Kirtan, just even by mistake, if they said Harinam, even jokingly, laughingly, Bhagavatam says कि अगर गलती से भी हरि नाम कोई हंस के भी ले ले, अरे देखो हरे कृष्णा वाले जा रहे हैं, अरे ये तो हरे कृष्णा हो गया है, ऐसा भी हरे कृष्णा बोल दिया तो राधा रानी और कृष्णा का नाम ले लिया, you know, even that will give them spiritual credit. So Krishna has put these plugs in the material world, these little spiritual sparks here and there, spiritual plugs that can recharge, revive a soul that may be otherwise damned. अगर गलती से भी प्रसाद दे दिया और आपने ले लिया, चलो ले लेते हैं, इसका मन रखने के लिए खा लेते हैं, क्या हो गया? किसी आपने घर पे बुलाया, they don't believe in prasad, but you fed them and they ate it just because they wanted to please you, not really to please the Lord, but they ate it because you are related to them somehow. So prasad खा लिया, या आपको देख लिया, आपके तिलक को देख लिया, किसी प्योर डिवोटी को देख लिया, गलती से प्योर डिवोटी का कीर्तन सुन लिया, भगवद गीता सुन ली, भगवद गीता की वर्सेस सुन ली, somebody was reciting. All this will give them spiritual credit. And that person may be spiraling into a hellish situation, but that spiral will be blocked because now there is Hari Kirtan, there are Hari devotees who stop your spiral down into the hellish situation. So, but for us to understand is that we should try to develop these divine qualities. We should control our lower modes, our anarthas, and control our tamasic qualities and come to the mode of goodness at least. Bhakti is transcendental. Bhakti is beyond the mode of goodness, but at least we should come to mode of goodness, and then bhakti becomes easier. Faith in Lord becomes easier. Word of God, समझ ज्यादा आएगा. Bhagavad Gita अपनी तामसिक क्वालिटीज से और उससे पढ़ेंगे और मूड ऑफ गुडनेस में आगे पढ़ेंगे तो गुडनेस में समझ ज्यादा आएगी. कई लोग पढ़ लेते हैं पूरा, लेकिन कुछ समझ नहीं आता कि हमने तो पढ़ लिया, लेकिन कुछ पूछो कि क्या गोल है लाइफ का, क्या बोल रहे हैं, कृष्णा कौन है, कृष्णा इज द सुप्रीम पर्सनालिटी ऑफ गॉड हेड, ये बात समझ नहीं आई सारे उसमें कि कृष्णा भगवान है. तो पूरी भगवद गीता पढ़ ली, लेकिन ये नहीं समझ आया कि कृष्णा भगवान है. ये समझ नहीं आया कि हम सोल हैं, हम बॉडी नहीं है. तो फिर नो पॉइंट, राइट, इन रीडिंग भगवद गीता. You still have the identity crisis. So faith in Lord improves, bhakti becomes easier, you can do services better, your nishtha develops, you have hankering, taste to read and hear more, to associate with devotees, to eat prasadam, to offer prasadam, to do the kirtan, right? So many devotional services become easier. And that will attract, so good qualities, godly qualities attract blessings of people. At least that's what I see in godly people around me, that they attract blessings of the Lord. They attract mercy of Guru. They attract mercy of devotees. They attract mercy of the Lord, finally, Radharani. So blessings and mercy is what we should attract. जैसे रावण था ना, रावण की क्वालिटी थी, he had, I can't remember, he had the Guinness Book of World Record of curses. सारी curses उसने, सारे श्राप उसने इकट्ठे किए हुए थे. Does anyone remember how many shrap he had gotten? He has the highest record of all in our scriptures of all the
17 or so, if I'm not wrong.
70.
Something 17. I think that's 17. I think so. That's
17.
what I remember of him.
Okay, something like, मतलब बहुत इससे भी ज़्यादा. I thought some extravagant number of curses. Everybody had cursed him, and even then.
क्या क्वेश्चन था, जरा रिपीट कर सकते हो?
How many, रावण को कितने श्राप मिले हुए थे? रावण ने के सबसे ज्यादा श्राप हैं हमारे.
कर्सेस कितने मिले हुए थे?
I can't remember. I'll look it up. लेकिन बहुत सारे श्राप मिले थे उसने. हर किसी से श्राप इकट्ठे किए हुए थे. He used to exploit people so much. And he was supposed to be a pandit. He was like so धर्मज्ञ होना या धर्म, शास्त्रों को ज्ञाता होने का मतलब है to understand your servitude to the Lord, not to become Lord yourself. So his desires were so uncontrolled. He's trying to kidnap other person's wife. Kitna he went to such great lengths to kidnap Mother Sita and then to hide her, and then he could still not touch her. And I mean, so much austerities he did. He could have used all that austerities in service of the Lord. He cut his head so many times to please Lord Brahma. So this is what demonic people do, right? They'll do austerities just for their own, what they think, to fulfill their own desires. So humko blessings ikatti karni hai, not curses like Ravan. All right, that's where I will stop for chapter 16. Please share anything if you have. If not, we can sing this beautiful song for Bhagavad Gita that I wanted to sing. Okay, so we will stop here.